Dinosaurs ruled the Earth for over 165 million years. However, there were many animals that lived before, during, and after that were just as formidable. We've picked 72 that dominate the others. In this show, we will talk about these dangerous animals, including when they lived, what they ate, their weaponry, and how humans would fare if these creatures were still alive. From the largest venomous animal of all time, to birds that could take out animals 30 times their weight, to a pterosaur that could kill a T-Rex, this is 72 Dangerous Animals, Prehistory.
Gigantophis grew up to 35 feet long and weighed up to 500 pounds. It lived 37 to 35 million years ago in Egypt. Gigantophis was a giant snake that grew up to 10 feet longer than the largest confirmed size of the reticulated python. For over 100 years, Gigantophis was thought to be the largest snake of all time, up until Titanoboa's discovery in 2009. While it was a constrictor, like modern boas and pythons, it was actually not related to either, and was instead part of the extinct Madtsoidae family. Gigantophis killed its prey through ischemia, just like Titanoboa and other constrictors. Gigantophis fed on prehistoric elephant relatives such as Moeritherium, as well as crocodiles and other reptiles. Gigantophis would have spent much of its time underwater. Since Gigantophis was much smaller than Titanoboa, it would have killed a human much like modern anacondas and pythons. It would have wrapped itself around your rib cage and squeezed tighter and tighter every time you breathed, until blood flow was completely cut off to your brain, killing you. Gigantophis takes first place for now, coming in hot, a monstrous, speedy killing machine. Depending on how long of a tail Anteosaurus is depicted of having, it grew from 16 to 20 feet long and weighed 1,300 pounds. It lived 265 to 260 million years ago in Africa. Anteosaurus was the largest terrestrial predator to walk the earth before the dinosaurs. It lived during the Permian at the same time as Inostrancevia and several million years earlier. It was at the very top of the food chain, preying on Pariasaurs, Titanosuchus, and moss chops, as well as many other large animals. Anteosaurus had massive protrusions coming out of the top of its head. These could have been used by males for pushing each other around when fighting over females. They could have also been used to reduce stress in the skull when biting large prey. Newborn Anteosaurus had small, thin skulls which thickened throughout their lifetime. Anteosaurus was extremely agile and had highly advanced vision, as well as a great sense of balance and coordination. It was very fast and would chase down its prey rather than ambushing it. The front half of its body was built much more muscularly than the back half. Most of the weight was built forward to support headbutting. Anteosaurus had very large incisors and canines in the front of its mouth. It also had several small postcanines as well as several teeth attached to the roof of its mouth. Its upper canines were longer than Inostrancevia, however not proportionately. With teeth similar to a Tyrannosaurus's, Anteosaurus was adapted for crushing bones. Anteosaurus would have been able to run down the fastest human athletes of today and kill them with ease. It was made to kill large prey, and its massive teeth would have been useful for goring humans and ripping them apart. Even Usain Bolt wouldn't be safe from a charging Anteosaurus. Anteosaurus takes first place, pushing Gigantophis to number 2. Up next, another massive super predator. Erythrosuchus grew up to 16 feet long and weighed up to 2,800 pounds. It lived 249 to 244 million years ago in South Africa. Erythrosuchus, the red crocodile, was the largest predator of its time, reaching lengths of 16 feet or even larger. Erythrosuchus had a head that was 1/5 of its body length. It had large conical teeth in its massive jaws used for puncturing its prey. Erythrosuchus was most likely relatively slow-moving, however it didn't need speed to take out its large prey, such as Lystrosaurus, which were also slow-moving. Erythrosuchus was intermediate in evolution between plantigrade and digitigrade feet. Its ankles were on their way to becoming digitigrade. Erythrosuchus was an ambush hunter due to its slow speed. Once it reached its prey, Erythrosuchus killed it with a bite to the skull or neck. Its teeth would have caused a lot of damage to its prey and made sure it wouldn't escape. Erythrosuchus may have scared smaller predators from their kills to feed. It had a strong enough bite to crush bones, so it may have fed on bones as well as the rest of the carcass. If Erythrosuchus got hold of a human, that's the end for them. They would be crushed to a pulp and swallowed in large chunks. Erythrosuchus doesn't have the power to overtake Anteosaurus or Gigantophis. It takes third place for now. Incoming, the world's largest monkey. Dinopithecus grew up to 8 feet long and weighed up to 170 pounds. It lived 2.5 million years ago to 11,700 years ago in Africa. Dinopithecus was the largest monkey of all time, over twice the size of the mandrill of today. Dinopithecus was an omnivore and fed on various fruits and animals smaller than it. Dinopithecus was likely ground-dwelling and quadrupedal. Dinopithecus lived in groups numbering up to several dozen. They were nomadic and wandered from place to place to find enough food to survive. However, they always stayed relatively close to water. Imagine over 30 of these 5-foot-tall baboons charging you and ripping you apart. This would not be a pleasant way to die. While modern baboons have been observed killing goats and sheep, the terrible ape would have easily been able to tackle prey this size and larger, including humans. Dinopithecus also fed on lizards, fish, birds, mammals, and invertebrates. Dinopithecus fell prey to Dinophiles and crocodilians. Sometime between 400,000 and 700,000 years ago, over 90 Dinopithecus were slaughtered by Homo erectus in one spot, providing clues as to what may have caused their extinction. Dinopithecus on its own was a creature you wouldn't want to mess with, but a whole troop of these monkeys would literally tear you to pieces. It's an equal match for Anteosaurus in terms of fear factor, however Anteosaurus still holds on to first due to its Tyrannosaurus-sized teeth and killing power, as well as its sheer, unmatched speed. Dinopithecus takes second, pushing Gigantophis to third and Erythrosuchus to fourth. Hainosaurus grew 40 feet long and weighed up to 30,000 pounds. It lived 85 to 66 million years ago in Europe's oceans. It is heavily debated whether Hainosaurus is a synonym to Tylosaurus or not. They had nearly identical body plans and bone structure, however their teeth differed heavily. Hainosaurus had laterally compressed blade-like teeth, while Tylosaurus had much wider conical teeth. This should be enough to consider them separate species, however even though they are different species, they are still both part of the Tylosaurinae subfamily. Hainosaurus preyed on turtles, plesiosaurs, pterosaurs, cephalopods, sharks, fish, and smaller mosasaurs. Hainosaurus had powerful pectoral muscles, giving it a very strong and sturdy neck, useful for catching prey. It is hypothesized that Hainosaurus could have used its head as a battering ram and headbutt its prey to stun it, causing massive damage to the prey's internal organs. After the creature was immobilized, Hainosaurus would rip it apart and swallow it. Humans would be much easier targets than the armored or speedy prey it was used to killing. It would be over fast if you met a Hainosaurus in its natural habitat. This living torpedo would rocket towards you and slam you with such force you would be killed instantly. Then, it would bite you in half and swallow both pieces, one after the other. Hainosaurus destroys the competition and takes first, pushing Anteosaurus, Dinopithecus, Gigantophis, and Erythrosuchus to second, third, fourth, and fifth, respectively. Our final creature in the first half of 72 Dangerous Animals Prehistory is coming up next. Can it top Hainosaurus? Saurosuchus grew up to 30 feet long and weighed up to 4,400 pounds. It lived 231 to 225 million years ago in South America. After the extinction of Erythrosuchus, Saurosuchus rose to fill the niche as the top predator in its ecosystem. Saurosuchus was the second largest terrestrial predator to ever live that was not a dinosaur, and was only rivaled by its relative Physalusuchus. Saurosuchus lived alongside some of the earliest dinosaurs such as Erythrosuchus and Eoraptor, and may have scared them away from their kills to feed, or even have eaten them. While its legs weren't built for moving at a fast pace, it was a very sturdy animal. It ran at a speed similar to humans, though it could not hold it for long. Saurosuchus' head resembled a T-Rex's, only smaller, and had a powerful bite force. Saurosuchus had strong, bony armor to protect itself while fighting with other members of its species. They would not have killed each other, however, as most carnivores within the same species don't fight to the death. Saurosuchus grew slowly and likely lived to be over 70 years old. Saurosuchus had a strong tail which may have been used to support itself when it reared up on its back legs to look around or appear larger. It couldn't hold a bipedal stance for long, however. Saurosuchus mauled its prey with its large conical teeth. If it caught a human, it would have made short work of them. However, a death roll was out of the equation since it didn't have the right body plan to do so. Instead, it would have shaken its head side to side to tear you apart. Saurosuchus has no hope to overpower Hainosaurus. It also isn't as deadly as Anteosaurus or Dinopithecus. Saurosuchus takes 4th place, pushing Gigantophis to 5th and Erythrosuchus to 6th. Our champion for this episode is Hainosaurus, finishing in 1st and moving on to our finalists. Next episode on 72 Dangerous Animals Prehistory is the Clash of Titans. The largest macrocarnivore of all time faces off against the largest venomous animal of all time, the largest crocodile of all time, the largest bird of all time, the largest amphibian of all time, and the bone-crushing dogs.
Beelzebufo was the largest frog of all time. It grew up to 16 inches long and weighed 10 pounds, and was large enough to prey on baby dinosaurs.
In each episode, we will rank the creatures from 1 to 6 on a scale of how potentially dangerous these creatures would be to humans, and the winner of each episode will showdown with the other 11 finalists in the season finale to decide on which prehistoric creature was the ultimate human killing machine.